I got a piece of yellow watermelon with a piece of ribeye. Put that guy in there. With a block of New Zealand butter, macadamia nuts, walnuts with almond butter, and a Boulogne cheese, red cheese, an entire egg if it even fits. I think it's gonna fall. It is. I'm gonna reconstruct all of this. Okay, we're back in business. Coconut yogurt mixed in with chia seed and flax meal, blackberry, a rosé berry, a blueberry, grape, kumquat. Gotta love that name. Piece of honeycomb. The kumquat just fell. Some coconut oil, some truffle olive oil. Put that kumquat right back in there. Now I'm gonna give this shit a shot here. Let's see. Holy god damn. I seriously think you gotta give that a shot, man. I think the one thing that would get me to become a vegan is if I ever hunted for my own food, my own game, whatever animal, and I couldn't bring myself to either kill it or I could kill it, but then I can't eat it because I feel like kind of weird. I think that would be like the only thing that would get me to be a vegan. I know that's a very random thing to bring up, but the reason I bring it up has to do with the idea of congruency. I have found that the more I behave congruent to other ideas that I already have, the more calm I feel, the more settled, more at peace I feel. And the more calm and at peace I feel, the easier I find it is to do the things that I like tricky and harder. Like, for example, not eating for multiple days on end. Like, for example, the fact that I really do break a fast on video is part of the reason that I feel so comfortable getting it on video. Due to the fact that I really am doing what I'm claiming I'm doing, I feel calm getting on video and then just saying whatever. I mean, not whatever, but I think you get what I mean. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I was making these videos and I wasn't actually like doing what I'm claiming, like, meaning if I say, hey, I'm breaking a 48-hour fast, but I was like eating the whole time, I'm going to tell you right now, I could not have brought myself to record these videos. Maybe like the first week or two, maybe. But consistently over time, hell no. That shit would have started to eat at me, man. Fuck no. Like, what? Bald-faced lying like that? No, man. Like, what? So, yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. If I've never hunted, but if I ever, like, went on, I don't know, a hunt with somebody, and I either couldn't get myself to kill that dang animal, or I couldn't get myself to eat the animal I've killed, I think I would go vegan. There's just something about being congruent that just helps in so many ways, that just seem to overflow into so many areas that I wouldn't be at ease eating like ribeyes right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, straight up. And because something tells me you don't get why I'm talking about what I think here, so I'm gonna be more direct. I think you not being congruent in your life is fucking you up. There, I said it. I know, because it was fucking me up. And if you don't know what I mean by congruency or lack of it, simple. You say one thing but do another. You believe something and then you act in straight contradiction to whatever you believe. It is quite literally killing you, whether physically or spiritually. I'll give an example. I'm going to give an example as to how me not being congruent was killing me. How about that? And maybe me giving that example, you may think, oh, okay, I can see that. Yeah. I'm trying to help out. Let's just say I've quote, extracted myself out of my own bullshit just enough of a bit that I figured, you know what? I think this might be worth a share. So here we go. Around certain kinds of people, I would often find myself not like outright agreeing with what they were saying, but my body language would be giving off those cues. So if they were saying something, and let's just say that whatever the hell they were saying I didn't agree with, I felt compelled to like kind of bob my head yes, and this like yes agreement thing. So I'm not saying I'm agreeing, but I'm giving this impression that I am. I don't know why I feel so compelled to do that. And then like later down the road, they would be shocked as to like the massive disconnect between what they thought I was agreeing with them and then like my actual sentiments of I don't actually agree, but I felt like doing one of these for whatever reason. The craziest part is that deep down, I've always kind of known it, but not in a way that I could articulate it. This isn't something that everybody's gonna do. In terms of like human nature, this is like gradient scale of agreeableness to like disagreeableness. Some people lean more towards being agreeable. Some people lean more towards being disagreeable. And then you got people like right in the middle, or like a spectrum. Depending on where I'm at, who I'm talking to, like who it is, I'll kind of fluctuate. If for whatever reason I'm in a room and I just feel that somebody might have something over me, not like some dirt or bad information or something, but maybe I just feel like they have some power over me and they have power to like fuck me up financially in some way, right? Before I continue, I am perfectly okay saying this right at this very moment because should somebody actually knock me out from them now knowing that this is a thing within my head, I'm gonna leave it at that. I won't say anything else. But anyways, if for whatever reason I was like in the presence of what I felt to maybe a superior of some sort, right? And for some reason, I just get a sense that if I don't agree with them, that'll upset them, and then maybe I might be, well, I don't know, dealt like a bad card or something. Maybe they'll treat me bad or something. Maybe they'll fire me or something. Like that kind of a fear, I guess, thinking, right? I used to lean towards just being agreeable around said person, even if it was at the expense of me just sharing my own opinion freely. Simply on a, oh my God, what if? What if? Right? Irrational, call it what you want. Happened, happens, right? But then depending on some other people, I might be more disagreeable. So it's like a spectrum. Anyways, for now, I'm just going to focus on the agreeable side of the house. I found that the more I kept up agreeableness in the name of what if somehow the other person really does attack me in some way, whether right now, later down the road, 1 year from now, literally, emotionally, financially, whatever the hell. What I found is that this sense of me effectively being like a fraud or fake in the presence of this person would start to fucking nag at me. So I'd be quite literally dying, not so much literally and physically, but more like spiritually. I'd be dying as a person, which in turn would lead to like more feelings of like shame and shit, which would then in turn make me feel, I don't know, bad about myself, which then in turn would make me not, well, say care about myself, which in turn was kind of contributing to like, me overeating and stuff. So I guess you could argue I was actually kind of killing myself, quite literally, off of me, not just, quote, being me, if that makes sense. It wasn't too long ago that I finally decided to stop doing that shit. Basically, if somebody's saying something in front of me, doing something in front of me, and I just don't actually really agree with it, depending on the context in the situation and who the hell I'm with. If we're, like, for example, let's say I'm in the presence of somebody that in the past would have made me feel like I have to be agreeable because maybe they'll fire me or something to that effect. Let's just say that, right? In that instance, I'm not just gonna choose. I mean, I can, but I just from a pick and choose your battles perspective, what I choose to do is just simply just listen. Rather than like shaking my head in agreement, right? I'll just listen. That's it. And in theory, since this is, quote, a free country, it shouldn't matter whether I do shake my head or not. It's like, hey, I heard you, right? Yeah, it depends on who you're actually interacting with. What I found is that if I'm listening to the kind of person that their frame of how they frame everything sounds like they're a victim, they've been mishandled, misunderstood, missed this, missed that, somebody was unfair to them, they did the work but didn't get any credit. If they are consistently speaking in terms that just rub off pessimistically, okay, I have found that the moment I stop this, I agree with you, body language head bob shit, what I've noticed is that they do pick up on that. And that seems to bother them. And in the past, that would have bothered me because I would have felt that, that's not right of me. Like, well, maybe I should shake my head in agreement, right? Even though I don't really agree with them. But then why am I shaking my head in agreement if I don't really agree with them? All right, so let me not shake my head in agreement, but then I could tell that they can tell that this some weird dynamic going on here. And it's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? This is fucking stupid as fuck, man. I basically said, you know what, at this point, I see what me being more congruent, in this instance, me not shaking my head to things I don't agree with and just listening, that feels more congruent to me than shaking my head in agreement, even if, it gets me intact. And the craziest part is, despite however fearful I may have been at one point from taking that actual conscious choice, that conscious, that conscious action, right? It's been one of the most eye-opening things for me to see with my own eyes that typically the kind of person that's like, woe is me, everything's like the end of the fucking world, you suddenly stop, quote, here's the more specific word, mirroring their let's call it complaints, their attitude, their behavior, maybe not mirroring, but validating, right? Validating implicitly, not explicitly. So implicitly would be like, I'm validating without really saying I'm validating you. Explicitly would be more like, yeah, that's correct. Like I say it directly, right? It's that implicit one that they tend to be a little bit more like keen on or hyper vigilant about. The moment I stopped doing that, the more I started to feel more solid internally and more congruent with who I am and who I am learning about myself, basically. I will say this. Be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared for pushback. And it's weird because it's the kind of pushback that you can just sense is a pushback, but you can't officially pin it down like with like a court level amount of like evidence because it's so subtle and quiet and all covert as fuck. Because, oh my God, I can't help feel the feelings of shame if I were to fess up to this. Yeah, so-and-so, like, well, shut up. Like, you know who you are. I'm telling you right now, you know who you are if you fit into this category. You know who you are if you fit into the category of the person that wants that validation and you're all pessimistic as fuck all the time. And then you know who you are if you give this validation at your own expense. Like, you know. All right? Heck, this happened to me quite recently, actually. There was somebody I was interacting with, and that's the only word I'm going to use because I ultimately don't know who's ever watching this stuff. So just for my own safety here, all right, this one particular person that I was interacting with, our interactions, or at least my side of the interaction, was very formal because I don't know this person. I still remember when this person interacted with me electronically. Let's call it an email, Slack, whatever you want to consider it, all right? I was very proper, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. The email is very proper because I don't know the person, Anyways, I still remember the way they formatted the email was so, like, blah. And I just continued to keep formatting my email in the same way. In the past, I would have felt tempted to kind of basically mirror them back, which is weird to even think about right now, but it's true. But I just kept the same, I guess, structure to my email, right? I swear to God, man, within like the 5 exchanges, this other particular person was suddenly like suiting up their email structure. Let's put it that way. I'm like, this is interesting. Okay. Seems like a sign. Okay. But I won't jump to conclusions just yet. All right. And then from email, there was some interactions in person. And I still remember for like the first week or two, the interactions were quite strange. I'll go back to what I was saying just now. Woe is me. I'm a victim. Life's unfair to me. Yada, 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 yada. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. The whole world is falling apart for this particular person. And to me, I guess one of the most eye-opening parts is that when I was interacting with this person, I was doing a lot of the fasting. A lot of the fasting. Hold on. It was during one of the periods that I was fasting a little bit more, not only for me, but to like get it online and whatnot, right? And so here's one thing about me when I'm keeping a fast. I become, I don't know how to say it. The way that my mind thinks, my more emotional side kind of calms down, and then my logical thinking kind of shoots up a bit. That doesn't mean I'm saying I get super smart. I'm just saying that my logical side of the fucking brain just flares up a bit more. The emotional part just kind of retreats back. That's it. All right. I'm saying that because in some other video I said that, and somebody, it seems like they were sarcastic and saying, "Oh my God, this motherfucker's claiming he gets super smart." No, no. And by the way, if you feel like that's what I'm saying, please post it below. You're gonna help out the algorithm over here. Anyways, but besides this point, I bring this up because this certain individual. There was a few times that me just quote what I just said, being a little bit more logical, less emotional, right? I would just be there, like I'll just be there. When I say there, just look at my face real quick. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. I'll be like that, right? Here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but different people will have a different inclination to interpret facial expressions depending on how their brains are wired and their experiences in life. So, somebody who's been through some shit in life, some like trauma, some like I don't know, maybe a war or something. There's a higher tendency for people who have experienced shit to see a neutral face and interpret more negative, exaggerated things that lean more towards the negative, versus somebody who's been raised all nice and bubbly will tend not to have those interpretations. All right, and if you didn't know that, that's cool. Look into it. You don't have to take my word for it. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. All right. So why do I say that? Because with that thought process in mind, I found it quite fascinating to observe this individual just quite constantly for like the first week or two. We don't know each other. I consider it quite weird that all of a sudden we're escalating questions to what am I actually thinking in that very moment about like them. And I thought this is kind of weird. What does it have to do with anything? I mean, we're here to do some work. I mean, I have no point have I alluded to anything. I'm just listening and doing. That's it. Listening and doing. Minding my own business, listening and doing. That's it. And I just so happen to be in the fast. So right now I'm in this Zen Buddhist state of mind. That's what I call it. But the questions that kept coming from this individual kept implicitly alluding that maybe the reason why my face looks a certain way is because of this certain individual, rather than no, it's just me because of my fast, which it was. This person, I could get the impression that this person was quite certain. No. The reason he looked like that is because I think he's upset at me, and it's one of the most bizarre things in the world. But anyways, the point being, in me choosing not to reflect back this person's more pessimistic sentiments, right? This person then started to want to probe more and more. And the funny part is that when I would reflect back, just to kind of test it out, when I would reflect back whatever sentiment, not because I actually was believing it, but more as a test to see if the behavior would change, right? When I wouldn't reflect back, it would get weird. It would get to the point where there'd be like a lot of probing, trying to see if this individual, I could get the impression that this individual was trying to read my mind, basically. But the moment I would reflect whatever this individual thought, right? Whenever I would just reflect it back, instantly this person would just kind of, just start chatting away, nice and calm, right? At ease, right? It's just when I would stop reflecting back, and I'm like, shit, what the? My God. It's like, okay, I see what's going on here. And no, I am not going to continue to keep fucking my own self here just for the sake of making somebody feel comfortable. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because here's the thing. It's so much more than just like shaking your head, but you don't really mean it and whatever. I have found that when I do find myself doing that shit, there's some kind of, and this might start to sound a little fugazi here, but there's almost like a contagion that happens. In me reflecting back this person's sentiments, it's almost as if my mind starts to actually agree with those thoughts.
And in my mind, almost agreeing with those thoughts, I then start to think almost in that same way. And in me thinking almost in that same way, my mood, even my way of thinking starts to shift just enough that I start to lean pessimistic. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Especially when I became like really self aware of that. Whether this is true, whether I'm losing my mind, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you right now. The fact I became aware of that dynamic, the moment I stopped reflecting back ideas that I don't agree with, it was the moment that I realized, self aware, that wait a minute, hold on. I'm not reflecting back those thoughts of that other person. And now I don't feel like they're contaminating me. I'm able to stay in my state of mind. Ooh, so now that means that, oh, okay. So now that person's going to get a little upset. They're never going to fess up to it. Now this means, oh, so this is that hard work. Okay, so this is going to be a little tricky here. Okay. And the trickiest part is just simply not folding and me sticking to my guns and only reflecting back the things I agree with and not reflecting back anything else that I don't. And I'm going to tell you right now, by the week 2 or 3, this individual went from kind of probing very oddly, unnecessarily, to strictly professional. Strictly professional, which in some ways worked for me and it worked for this individual. So with all of that being said, once again, if I ever found myself hunting and I couldn't get myself to kill another animal, I'd go vegan. Because being congruent really pays off. And that's all I got for now. So I'm done. And until next time. So let's see.